Today, I will share some thoughts with you on the subjects of coaching and mentoring. Let me say at the outset that very often these two words are erroneously interchanged. They are not synonyms, they are two different aspects of the whole process of intervention in moving a person from his or her present level to where the potential lies. And these are short term or long term and depend on the requirements of the individual. There is a lot of customization that goes into this. To understand what coaching is, just think of Sachin Tendulkar and Ramakant Achrekar. No further elaboration is needed. Achrekar coached Sachin to reach to where he reached, and we know where he reached. Mentoring is a slightly different kind of a process. Mentoring involves understanding the requirements of the person, understanding what needs to be worked on, understanding how the areas for improvement need to be worked on, and as I mentioned, customizing the offering to meet the requirements of the individual. Now, in India, we've had for centuries a tradition of going to gurus, of going to spiritual guides, of going to counselors whenever we faced a problem. When things were all right, we didn't reach out to them. When there was a problem, we reached their doorsteps and decided, or whether we were sitting under a tree, we decided that we needed to partake of that wisdom and apply it to our situation. That offering was often not customized. Nevertheless, that is where the origins of reaching out to external persons to understand how to improve yourself actually kicks in. As far as coaches and mentors are concerned, what is most important is the right fit. When it comes to mentoring, you might get an excellent person, a person with a great track record, one who's been there and done that, and think that he or she is the best mentor that you can have. And often it can go horribly wrong, both from the mentee's perspective and from the mentor's perspective. There ought to be a selection process where you hit on the right person that you need to work with in your journey of being mentored or of providing mentoring. The right fit is critical. The second and the most important is trust. There ought to be a relationship of trust based on confidentiality, because the process involves confiding, the process involves sharing information that one does not ordinarily share with all and sundry. This is information that is personal. This is information that is needed for the mentor to act on, to see what he or she can bring to the table by way of improvements, or by way of helping you to discover what you need to do to improve. So confidentiality is critical, and the trust that is derived from confidentiality is critical. At the same time, there ought to be no emotional attachment between the mentor and the mentee. The minute any emotional attachment kicks in, subjectivity tends to take a knock, and then your recommendations, your suggestions, your advice often becomes suboptimal. It is a purely professional relationship where one person brings to the table what he or she would seem to need, and the other person brings to the table the expertise and the experience that is required to handhold the mentee and to ensure that he or she discovers the right path. Also, it has often been noticed that because you have a coach or a mentor, you reach out to that person more often than you need to. What coaches and mentors do is to empower you to find the solutions, suggest solutions, but also empower you to find the solutions. So if whenever you're confronted with a problem or a crisis, you reach out to the coach, you are using that coach as a crutch. And when you use a crutch for a long term, you forget how to walk. You have to not just walk, you have to run. And therefore, you have to let go. The coach and the mentor have to let go at a certain time so that you discover your pace, your direction, your speed, and your sense of purpose, the passion that goes into what you impart to the next steps in your journey of life. It's also important to remember mentoring is not an HR issue. It's not something that the HR department owns and administers. Because if it were that simple, we wouldn't need mentors, and yet there are enough persons seeking out mentors. And why do people seek out mentors? Because you recognize that self-assessment is never entirely objective. The minute you assess yourself and think you've got it right, you have started on the wrong path. An external person is often able to see what you cannot see because you are yourself, and there is an element of subjectivity that gets into the process. Therefore, reach out to persons outside. Now, who needs mentoring? Everyone needs mentoring. If somebody thinks I have reached where I have to and the rest of life is a picnic, I think they've got it horribly wrong. In order to be better tomorrow than you are today, you need someone to work with you on what you need to do. The heavy lifting will be what you do. It's the direction, the handholding that the external expert provides to you. So, identify at the right stage, the right mentor, and get started on the journey of mentorship. That is very, very critical. The second is that this need not be an endless pursuit. This need not be one that you get started on tomorrow morning and lasts till the end of your life. It's not required. Once the areas for improvement are identified, once you work together, and this is important, you are working together. It's not that you are sitting back and somebody is giving you advice which you then absorb. You work together. You find a solution together. And it's like playing doubles on a tennis court or a badminton court. There are complementary strengths that you build on as you go forward. So in the end, what is critical is first to recognize that outside help is always welcome. Second, to find the right person to provide that kind of advice. Three, not to lean too much on that person, but to discover your inner strengths, which that person will help you to refine so that you become a stronger person, a better person, and your self-esteem and your self-confidence goes up. And then, having got all of that in place, craft out a program that is customized to meet your needs. Measure the improvements as you go along. Do impact assessment. And at any stage, if you believe that not enough value is being added in the process, either have a frank conversation on how you can make it better, or put an end to this particular relationship and seek another person. These are tough decisions, but tough decisions have to be taken, and in the end, it is tough decisions that set apart the winners from the losers. So seek advice and get started sooner rather than later. It was asked of someone, what is the best time to plant a tree? He said it was 1,000 years ago, but the next best is as we are speaking now. So that is, I think, the pace at which you need to address this issue and get started. I wish you all the best.